Good evening, all young minds. A warm welcome to Social Sciences class after a brief gap. Here, today we are going to come across the last topic, that is the relationship between India and Pakistan, which was an integral part of India some 75 years back and got divided on the lines of communal aspects, communalism, or on the grounds of religion. But so 1947, 14 midnight, India got segregated or divided into two nations based on the demand of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, that is two nations theory. His dreams came true and India got divided into India and Pakistan. Right? So how our relations are there since the formation of Pakistan? Here, since the since the formation of Pakistan, we can't say India's relations with Pakistan are better. They are bitter. Means they are not sweet or tasteful. What's the reason? From the day one after getting divided, there was a constant tense and conflict among these two nations. And to be frank, it is because of unwanted and unwelcomed behavior of Pakistan from the initial days is a cause for this bitterness between India and Pakistan. As other neighboring states, Pakistan also might have got the same respect from India if it might have been busy with its own progress and developmental aspects. Instead of focusing on these areas, it started trying to hinder the development and progress of India, and that became a bone of contention. But it became a bottleneck, a bone of contention, we can say. And the issue is all the time they brought to forefront this issue of Kashmir. What is this Kashmir issue? We will be learning much more detail about Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, which is an integral part of India, in 17th chapter, when we come across the chapter. But let me brief some little information about Kashmir. Kashmir was not an integral part of independent India till 1948, October Agreement. That is, it became an integral part of India 1 year after our independence. That too on a force. What happened? How did it went on? As early as we got independence, we and Pakistan got independence in 1947. Pakistan launched a campaign against India from October 1947. In August, we got independent, Nana. And from October, it started launching its campaign against Jammu and Kashmir, stating that Kashmir is also an integral part of Pakistan. What is their intention in getting the Kashmir? Actually, Kashmir was an independent state during that 1947. But later on, it became an integral part of India. And before it became integral part of India, it was an independent state. It got attacked by Pakistan in 1947 October. And when it is getting attacked Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistani army was sent in the form of bandits. Bandits. Bandits means the people who loot by killing innocent. The criminals who will loot innocent people by even killing brutally them. And huge distinction was they themselves dressed as Razakars, who are nothing short of bandits, to Pakistani army and made their entry into Pakistan. They started destructing the cities, killing the innocent people, looting. Everything is going on. At the time, the king of Jammu Kashmir was Mr. Raja Harsi. He could not face the attack made by the Pakistani army. And then he sought the help of Indian government, and on the advice of Nehru, he accepted to merge that Kashmir into Indian Union And ultimately, after 1948, Kashmir became an integral part of India, and where India started making a counter attack against Pakistan, because now Kashmir became an integral part of India. So it is the duty of the Indian government or Union government to protect our domain. So by the time itself, Pakistan got occupied some western part of India, but which we actually are seeing in our Indian map. This is what we are seeing in our Indian map. This part is not lying even today with India. This part POK. Why we are showing it in our map is we strongly still we believe that this is our integral part of India. This region which is under control of Pakistan. This region of Kashmir went into the hands of Pakistan before Kashmir became an integral part of India. When Kashmir was an independent state and there was a king called Hari Singh ruling that particular state, then this part went into the Pakistan and it occupied this region. And when once India came into the action and it could not go ahead, and finally United Nations organization involved in the matter and brought a settlement ceasefire between India and Pakistan. And this part, Pakistan was given to Pakistan by the body. And the rights of Pakistan was honored, and this remaining part was left over with India. This Kashmir was left over with Jammu and Kashmir was left over with India. But this became bone of contention between these two nations for a longer period of time. Even today also the same is the problem. And this bone of contention give another problem in the recent. For 1 year we are seeing how tense building up on the either side of India, on the either side of the country, right? So you see, now here what happened, what occupied Kashmir is there, right? And Jammu and Kashmir is there. Jammu and Kashmir is part of India. Now again we know this got divided into two union territories. One is Jammu and Kashmir, other is Ladakh. Got it? And now Ladakh is being divided by China. Upside crossing upside and want to occupy up to East Ladakh. Expand itself into up to East Ladakh. So that is a different story. China already yesterday in the last video we got completed. Now Pakistan. This is with the vested interest. Pakistan is always trying to disturb our peace. This is a fact, known fact. How? In 1947-48, a war is there. It was settled down peacefully by international community, the international organization UNO, and we also accepted. And because we are in a hurry and hasty to make our country develop, because many problems are there in newly independent colonies at the time, which we came across. Poverty is there, inequality is there, and illiteracy was there. So we have to address the governments which come to power, and we are in a hasty to make our constitution, the rule of to carry rule of law, the law of the land, constitution. We are in a visit to make that. We are not thinking about any war or fight with others. We want to make our nation strong. That's why even though that fellow no mark by the data we can see this matter, we left, we were quiet. Because we want to focus upon other areas, we don't want to focus upon this particular thing. And what happened in 1965? It was constantly coming out, breaking up. Pakistan always said that Jammu and Kashmir is also an integral part of India. What is its intention? Jammu and Kashmir acts as a head of India. Why we are saying head? Because brain is there in the head only, which controls all the body. See, here Himalayas are there, which form natural barriers, so that enemies can't enter so easily. Like a wall they are standing. If once it can occupy Kashmir, so now we can make entry into India very easily, and we can disintegrate India using the religion was the perception of Pakistan. So that's why we want to gain control upon Kashmir. And why it takes more is, why it gets some weightage is, here in Kashmir, majority of population were Muslims and non-Muslims are minorities, that is Sikhs and Hindus are. Got it? And there is a different story. When we come into Kashmir, we come across the demographic aspects. So let us know. So, taking advantage of majority of Muslims existing here, it want to come. Of course, Muslims of this particular region were very strongly against Pakistan and its ideas in many times. That's what we are going to come across regarding 1965 war. 1965 war between India and Pakistan, This is from August to September. This war occurred in 1965. It got occurred because there is an army general. Pakistan, you see, it opted democracy. It also made its constitution, but most of the time it was under control of military generals only. Ayub Khan, Yahya Khan, that fellow who died in air crash, Ziaul Haq, Parvez Musharraf. Like this, most of the time, people elected governments did not rule Pakistan. And even though people elected governments are there, they were crushed down or thrown down with a coup by the military officers when they are powerful. So this way the people never were permitted by the army of the country to think about progress, education, literacy, development and so on. And to get a stronghold upon the people, all the time they started infusing the religious aspects, concerns in the minds of the people and a strong hatred towards Indians. What it is? So they banking on the religion, they want to promote a strong hatred towards India among the people of Pakistan, right? So in 1965, an Ayub Khan was the army general and also ruler of Pakistan. He unilaterally already, because the time was very bad time for us, because 1962 we did not want to go for any war or something, but when we are not alert, we got attacked by China, one thing, and that disappointed us a lot. We were extending friendly relations with extending friendly hand to China, but it got bitten our hand itself, one thing, some part of our hand. And apart from that, India was passing through severe, certain areas of India, not entire India, severe famine and drought, where there were a lot number of deaths occurred because of famine and drought conditions that prevailed in India from 1962-64. And by 65, we are seeing for some help, because this is the time when America sent its food grains and edible oil to India to help India. Even though we got formulated non-alignment movement, we are not there on behalf of America, neither America nor Russia, but still America sent its help to us. But even we did not accept America going for an attack upon Guyana, even though it helped us. That is the non-aligned policy of India, right? So you see, in 1965, Ayub Khan was the military general ruling Pakistan. This fellow thought India is economically bad in condition, and military also it got mentally weakened. So this is the right time we can capture Kashmir. So that's why he started making his troops from Pak-occupied Kashmir he opened the roads into Kashmir. And at that time, India is getting ruled by the second Prime Minister of India of Congress, Party Indian Congress, that is Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji, whose birthday was celebrated on 2nd October along with Mahatma. So that Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji was the Prime Minister of India, short but very strong, and achievements are also very tall. But a sincere and honest leader, Mother India got produced. But if any point of time possible, go through the history of Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji. Right. Now we will come across. This gentleman was the Prime Minister of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji. Lal Bahadur Shastri was Prime Minister of India, PM of India. So when Pakistan made its adventure to make its army into Indian domain, will he keep quiet? Actually, we have a boundary in Punjab. Punjab during partition got divided into two parts. Certain part of Punjab lies in Pakistan, this part lies in Pakistan, and this part lies in India. Secular dominated or non-Muslim dominated area in India, Muslim dominated area in Pakistan. Got it? That Punjab is in Pakistan. Sindh, Punjab, and right? So now what happened? Lal Bahadur Shastri said, "Hey, if you want Kashmir, go and take Lahore. March up to Lahore. carrying Ramakrishna to Lahore, he opened the doors for Indian Army. Indian Army marched up to Lahore without any hindrance. It successfully captured almost all the domain up to Lahore. Then Ayub Khan folded his both hands in front of India and extended an excuse. An agreement was made between both the countries of ceasefire. Ceasefire word is used in the textbook, stopping the fire. Ceasefire. Stopping the textbook, stopping the fire. Fire means between both the parties, India and Pakistan. Stopping the fire. Alright, this was made. Okay. And they took back their armies. Now no one's land is occupied by anyone. Got it? And India gave a strong retaliation to Pakistan, so that Pakistan feared for several years to look towards India. And India looked towards Pakistan within 6 years of time. What is the case I will be explaining you, and what made India to take action against Pakistan after 6 years I will be explaining you. Before that, let me know this is the man Lal Bahadur Shastri who gave a slogan that Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan. Slogan was given by Lal Bahadur Shastri during this time of war between India and Pakistan. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. What he means, at the time India is running short of grains, how to overcome, and he opted for green revolution, by introducing high yielding variety of food grains, which were designed in our Indian laboratories and also foreign laboratories, which will be giving more produce. So again, green revolution, when we come across in the next part of the syllabus, I will explain in detail. Up to now we learn that. With this green revolution, what happened? The food grain production went in leaps and bounds, and now we are able to bail out what we can call food grain shortages, and ultimately we came to that position where we can supply food grains to poorest of the poor at lowest cost through ration shops. Fair price shops, public distribution system started. This PDS and all, again, food security for paper one we will come across. Yeah. So in that way, he strengthened India militarily, and also he strengthened India in agricultural products, food grains production, and so on. But he in 1966 he went for a talks with the Ayub Khan in Tashkent, which is existing in one of the state of USSR. But Tajikistan, I think, if I'm not wrong, right? Tashkent. Uzbekistan. It was in Uzbekistan. Tashkent. Yeah, Uzbekistan, capital Tashkent. There, dialogue was going between these both. After that, he met an untimely death to Lal Bahadur Shastri. It is said that he died because of heart attack. But many rumors were there regarding the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri. Got it? We can't go into that area, right? So that's what happened with Lal Bahadur Shastri, and he was successful in stopping Pakistan occupying Kashmir by sending our army up to Lahore in Pakistan. Got it? And the next time when we got confronted with the Pakistanis in 1971. In 1971, what happened? And who was the Secretary General of United Nations Organization, who carried negotiations between India and Pakistan and made them to come to an agreement, Tashkent Agreement. Tashkent Agreement was 1966. With this agreement, they both accepted to go back to their original places, leaving whatever the places they occupied in both the domains. So the Tashkent Agreement happened in 1966, and who was the elderly person who took initiative in stopping the war between India and Pakistan is Secretary General of United Nations Organization of the day. That is U Thant. Alphabet U, Thant. Thant. U Thant was the man. Thant. U Thant was the man who was Secretary General of United Nations Organization. Who is the present Secretary General? Secretary General already explained you way back. Present Secretary General is Antonio Guterres of Portugal. Got it right? So in this phenomena, things occurred, and again Nandini both got confident. In 1971, once more there is a strike war between India and Pakistan. After that, it tried indirectly, but directly it never tried to fight with India. Like a jackal, got it? Like a jackal or some other animal which is wicked. It hides and makes attacks upon India till the date, or one or other way, by encouraging terrorism or by infiltrating terrorists into the country through our borders. Got it? Wherever opportunity is available, from there it will send terrorists into the country, either through the seaports, sea coast, or in the open boundaries of Kashmir, where hills and mountains are very high, where we can't make a fencing. Therefore, through that areas, it will be sending the terrorists into the country, and it will be creating a menace. Indirect war only, but direct war it did not carry after 1971 with India. Right. In 1971, there was a war now. What happened? There was a military ruler in Pakistan. His name is Yahya Khan. The name of the military ruler in Pakistan was Yahya Khan. Somewhat this fellow believed that there should be a democratic government in Pakistan, because the diminishing financial aspects and the requirement of financial support from some foreign countries, a democratic government is required in a country. Keeping all this in view to get money, because if money is not there with the country, what he can back? So money will be there if the democratic government will be there. So that's why he announced the commencement of elections democratically. In that elections, Pakistan People's Party, PNL, Awami League. Awami League was in the East Pakistan. What we are calling Pakistan was called as West Pakistan during that time. East Pakistan is nothing but what we are calling right now Bangladesh. Got it? That is in 1971 it got formed. Bangladesh came into existence. Got it? What happened in 1971? When elections were conducted to the National Assembly of Pakistan, Parliament of Pakistan, there in the West Pakistan, Pakistan People's Party led by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Ali Bhutto came to power. Later on, this fellow also got executed by the government on some allegations, corruption allegations, right? Or what we can call sabotage, acts on the grounds of acts of sabotage, he was hanged, executed by the military government, which came to power after his government fell down, right? Zulfikar Ali Bhutto understood, and from this is in West Pakistan. It got majority number of seats in West Pakistan. Pakistan People's Party (PPP), or PQ, and Awami got a good number of seats in East Pakistan. Awami League (PPP), Pakistan People's Party in West, which is called Pakistan today. There he got a big number of seats. People's Party, led by Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. And now in the East Pakistan, AML, Awami League, got good number of seats, and the leader of this party is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So under his leadership, Awami League won good number of seats in East Pakistan. And when government got formed in Pakistan, the people who got elected on behalf of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's party, that is Awami League, they did not get a due representation in the governments. They appealed, you people from the West are forming the government, and you are not paying any attention to the development of our people. Our people are suffering with hunger, poverty, and unemployment and so on. And if you give representative, if you give chance to us to become ministers in your government, there will be a chance to us to represent ourselves in your government, and so that government can try for redressal of that problems. Was the demand of these people, and also they were demanding for somewhat autonomy. Autonomy means where all power should not be the West Pakistani government. Certain power should be given to the governments that get formed locally in the East Pakistan, was the demand of Awami League. These things were treated as sign of revolution by the West Pakistani government, and it tried to suppress the leader of Awami League, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and it arrested him and put him behind the bars in the prison. He imprisoned him in the prison, jail. Then, under the guidance of him, even though he is in jail, with the help of his daughter and so on, he guided his party cadre, and under guidance of him, a force to liberate East Pakistan from West Pakistan got formed. That is Mukti Vahini. Mukti Vahini we say, but Mukti Bahini it is given in the textbook. Bengalis and most of North Indians, they don't pronounce Va. They pronounce Va as Ba, that's why it was written in the textbook as Mukti Bahini, but actually it is Mukti Vahini. Mukti Vahini means a flow. River waters will be flowing, and that flow is called Vahini. Mukti, a flow of, or a series of volunteers who want to liberate Pakistan, East Pakistan from the control of West Pakistan and want to form a separate country. Mukti or Vimukti, liberation. So Bangladesh liberation movement it is also called as, or East Pakistan liberation movement from West Pakistan started under the guidance of, even though he is in prison, he started guiding the party workers. And when Mukti Vahini started activities, protests, and big rallies against the West Pakistani government, West Pakistani government marched its military troops into Bangladesh. And this army, West Pakistan army, started attacking the innocent people with weapons and so on, and a counter attack started by this Awami League workers or Mukti Vahini workers, and a big violence started occurring in the country. Mukti Vahini. A big violence started prevailing in the country. When violence has started and people are getting killed, even these people of Mukti Vahini, they picked arms by killing the soldiers of Pakistan. They started counterattacks, and huge bloodshed was there, a civil war was there almost in that country. At that time, by seeing the horrific attacks made by Pakistan, lakhs of people started migrating into India because the borders between India and the East Pakistan were not closed. India got divided, but boundaries are not fenced. No fencing was there between them. Easily one can come this side, one can go that side. Lakhs of people started coming into India, and that was a situation where India was also suffering with the shortage of food and so on. Slowly it is overcoming that. And again some heavy population comes from some other part of the neighboring countries, and they settle in India. Feeding them will become more problem to Indian government. Already it is now able to, because of it was able to give some food to the existing population. If additional population comes, it can't. So then India brought it into the notice of United Nations and so on, how huge human rights violations going on in East Pakistan by the armies sent by West Pakistan, and also how India is getting suffering because of the influx means coming in of these fellows from East Pakistan and settling down India. Both Hindus and Muslims, they all came into India at that time. And whenever there is a disturbance or natural calamity in East Pakistan, some natural calamities occur. Even then also people used to move easily to India and settle in our neighboring states, border states, like also Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, we got it very close to the Bengal. So they used to come and they settled down in India. So this was a problem going to be for India, and Indira Gandhi brought it into the Soviet and so on. Then he even asked to take action against that military forces of Pakistan. Got it? And Pakistan, without India was getting ready for attack, but by that time only Pakistan started attacking our eastern frontier, and India could not tolerate. Overnight, Indira Gandhi, the Indian Prime Minister, ordered the Indian Air Force to go and attack, and planes at a time went and started attacking Bangladesh, that is East Pakistan, where Pakistani army was stationed, army troops were stationed, and a good fight occurred between India and Pakistan from 3rd December to 16th December of 1971. 3rd December to 16th December. Before itself, India made an agreement with 1971. Before itself, India made an agreement with Russia, 1971. That is seeking its cooperation to India against Pakistan, and Russia gave good support to India, and with that support, India within 13 days got defeated Pakistan very badly, where some thousands of Pakistani soldiers were caught as prisoners of war. Till recent, the stories went on, releasing them and sending them to Pakistan, but India did not kill them. Prisoners of war should not be killed by any country. So in that way, that army was captured by Indian Army, and Air Force, everything was under control of India, and Pakistan went back and declared independence to East Pakistan. East Pakistan became Bangladesh, and they started enjoying the freedom and their self-rule. That's why those people are always thankful to India. Got it? So in this way, Bangladesh got liberated from Pakistan. After this act of Indira Gandhi, dynamic act of Indira Gandhi, where she got encouraged Indian army to make a counter against Pakistan army and got a big success. Indira Gandhi got a big positive image, and many of the people in the country have praised her as Apara Durga, equal to goddess Durga. Got it? Indira Gandhi was praised like that. But the same Indira Gandhi who got praised like that got a big success in the election after that victory in the Bangladesh liberation war against Pakistan. But within 5-6 years, the people showed her a way when she failed to rule the people properly, and when she tried to bring authoritarian rule upon the people and want to take away the freedom of the people turned into wild lions, and she thought opposition is weak and no one can challenge us, and media, she imposed a strong censorship on media, so that media will never report what are the right things to the people. So that people will not know what is happening in the country. And she tried to control the radio, television, whatever the mass medium channels are there, all that were taken under control by it, and all the positive news about the government only, praising India. At one point of time, there are praisings like that: India is Indira, Indira is India. Personalization of the government. Got it? In a democratic state, governments will be there. Governments will come and people may come and go. Government is a constant aspect. CM, today XYZ may be, tomorrow ABCD will be, Prime Minister, XYZ may be, tomorrow ABCD will be. But the system of governance which was made by the Constitution of India should not be disturbed. Indira Gandhi violated, and she paid penalty for that. Not only she, history proves that any fellow who tries to violate the constitutional aspects, who tries to personalize and tries to create a personal image as a savior of his country, have to face the same wrath of the nation. But no one is that powerful than the people in a democratic state. Sovereign power lies with the people only. The first sentence of the Indian Constitution itself speaks that we the people of India make this Constitution to make India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Was a statement in the preamble to the foreword to the Constitution of India. It was made by we people. It says very clearly, not by any single individual, one or two individuals. Of course, as he took a big initiation in making the Constitution, we attribute to Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar that he made the Constitution, but it was made by people of India. How it is, we will be learning in making of Indian Constitution. But laborious work was done by several committees and so on, but he coordinated all of them. That's why it is said he made the Constitution. But actually, Constitution itself in its preamble speaks that we the people of the day. They all put together made the Constitution. That was the saying that we will look into the area when we come into that particular part called making of Indian Constitution. So in this way, we gave a what we can call a good retaliation so that it can't dream for any war with India in 1971 to Pakistan. Okay, immediately Pakistani Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto met with Indira Gandhi at Shimla, the capital of Himachal Pradesh, and they made an agreement in 1972 January. This agreement is called as 1972, whatever the agreement is called, made by Indira Gandhi and that Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, it is called as Shimla Agreement. Shimla Agreement. When Shimla Agreement was made? In 1972. And regarding the Shimla Agreement, much more I will be explaining you in question classes. If I even explain right now, you will be not following it. And again, I will explain again during variant what is Shimla Agreement. Only simple now, will you remember Shimla Agreement is made in Shimla Agreement got made in 1972. Who are the signatories? Who signed on that? Who are the signatories? Indira Gandhi and Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. This is what related to India's relations with Pakistan. And what little topic is left over is India's relations with Bangladesh. See, Nana, Bangladesh, as we are the very key force in giving it freedom and liberation, they were grateful to India, and they made an agreement in 1974 that for coming 25 years we will be carrying our friendly relationship with India up, and they even honored, respected by honoring, by giving good awards and rewards to the military personnel who very dynamically fought against Pakistan in giving freedoms to Bangladesh. That was the positive aspect between India and Bangladesh. And don't think that even though we have 25 years long friendship, don't think there are no issues between India and Bangladesh. India and Bangladesh will be differing regarding the sharing of river waters. What are the rivers? The river which is called Padma in Bangladesh. What is that river called Padma? That is nothing but Ganges, the Ganges, and Brahmaputra, which is called Sangpo in China and Tibet. That is Brahmaputra. That particular two rivers waters, you sharing the two rivers waters, is a bone of contention between India and Bangladesh, but it is not that severe like what bone of contention we faced with Kashmir, with Pakistan, regarding Kashmir with Pakistan. What it means? So there we have a soft corner and so on. Actually, teen being a problem was there, and 1974 agreement says that we have to solve. That means, according to that, that agreement was made between 74 agreement was made between Indira Gandhi and Mujibur Rahman, leader of Awami League, who became head of that state after independence, after liberation. Who, according to that state, India have to give certain more acreage of land to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh will give a little acreage of land to us. So what happens is, we can make a fencing between the two countries so that there won't be influx of Bangladeshis into India or Indians into Bangladesh. We can stop that migration, illegal migration. Agreement was made, but Indira Gandhi failed to implement that agreement. Why? Because India have to give more land. And if she gives more land to Bangladesh, there are certain political parties which are communal in India. They will be pointing towards Indira Gandhi that she got feared to the communal aspects and for vote bank politics. She got sacrificed huge land to Bangladesh and she got a little land from Bangladesh. They will be carrying a campaign and propaganda, feared of that Indira Gandhi, even though she made agreement with Mujibur Rahman, did not implement that. And afterwards in Bangladesh, a government changed, that is Bangladesh Nationalist Party came to power, Begum Khalida Jia. So in this way, things went on. But this problem got settled down by Mr. Modi in 2015. After 31 years, the problem got settled down. Why? Because Modi straight away handed over whatever the part which should be given according to that agreement made between Indira Gandhi and Mujibur Rahman and got the little part, and we are busy in making fencing between India and Bangladesh. This is one of the achievements we can say attribute to Mr. Modi. And why Modi did not get fear is there is no other political party to make communal stakes. What it? At the time when Indira Gandhi worried about the same mother of this Bharatiya Janata Party, Jan Sangh, they will be getting propagated these things and they will be getting communal polarization that will be causing a loss to Congress Party. It have to forget about staunch supporters, other communities in Hindu community. That's why it worried and it stopped. But here no one is there to stop Modi because Modi came on the plank, got a success on the plank of Hindu card, and no one is there to oppose, and he was able to do that at success of. We can say that is an attribution. We can attribute that achievement to Mr. Modi. Right. That's one aspect. Look East policy was also made by India to carry a friendly relations with these eastern countries and also Southeast Asian countries which are lying in the Pacific Ocean. And that Look East policy was made after liberalization 1991 by P.V. Narasimha Rao. And this Look East policy was much more made as Act East policy by Modi. What is Look East policy? Look East policy is made for economic tie-ups and political tie-ups with countries lying to the east of India. That is like this. Countries to the east of India, Myanmar is here, Bangladesh, here Myanmar is here. But Bangladesh, Myanmar, like this, Bhutan, China, like after China is Vietnam, what is it? Like this, Malaysia, Singapore, Cambodia, Laos, like these countries are there. Carrying trade and economic and cultural political relations with these particular countries, it was through Myanmar. This is Myanmar. Myanmar is nothing but once upon a time Burma. Once upon a time it's called Burma, now its capital is Naypyidaw. Naypyidaw is the capital of Myanmar, right? So, in this way, we want to carry not only economic and political relations but also cultural relations with these countries. And that's why Modi renamed Look East policy as Look East policy made by P.V. Narasimha Rao during 1991 was made as Act East policy by Mr. Narendra Modi, who became Prime Minister, Prime Minister of India in 2014. After a very couple of years, he stated it will be not Look East India policy, it will be Act East India policy. What it is? Because India is taking active role in carrying relations with the. We are not going to look, we are going to act. It's not words, we are going to carry on deeds, was the saying of BJP. Company from my paper. Thank you, Nana. This is a concept related to Unit 19. Please go through the video well and read the concept well and get learned and write the key points in your running notes. Thank you. You will be getting briefed tomorrow, 14th unit.